this is Dr. Pietro Aparicio from 72 Dragons Health. Today, I want to talk about Contagion, a movie that you probably know about, and you probably watched it already, maybe for the second or third time. Now that we're talking about COVID-19, which is a big emergency worldwide, a pandemic, and then we see a resemblance with COVID-19 and the movie Contagion. So I want to talk a bit about it, and it might be a bit different. So first, I want to quote something that Laurie Garrett said. Laurie Garrett is a science journalist, and she was also a consultant for the movie Contagion. She wrote in 1994 a book called The Coming Plague. And one of the things that Laurie Garrett said describing the movie Contagion was, it is part fantasy, part reality, and totally possible. So I thought that combination of words was kind of interesting, because right after reading what Laurie Garrett said, this on a CNN article, I was watching a video that was also done by CNN, an interview with Dr. Thomas Friedman. At that time, he was the director of CDC, the Center for Disease Control. And they were talking about what they call reality check. And one of the questions was, is this plausible? And Dr. Friedman replied, yes, it's plausible. And of course, he went on to talk about infectious disease, what it is, how it works, which was actually very informative and educating. So I was thinking about the movie, and I was wondering why Steven Soderbergh, the director of this movie, decided to do a movie about a virus. So first I thought, virus is scary. A pandemic is scary. People dying is really scary. And what better way to get an audience to come and see a movie than to, touching the piece of humanity, which is fears. So that always works, because fears is such a powerful weapon. But then I kept reading and trying to, figure it out. Is there something else? And I came across an interview with Steven Soderbergh, and there was the question, why a movie about a virus? So his response, what I found very interesting, was, yes, the virus does not speak, does not have a brain, but it is alive, and it wants to stay alive and propagate itself. And then he proceeded to say, I really felt like this was a great movie material, because you cannot construct a life for yourself in which you're not around germs. So I was taken by that. It's oh my God. So he was really looking beyond what we all see, but we don't see germs. And interestingly enough, there are actually millions of germs. They are in the air, in the water, in the plants, in the animals, and at every surface. And there are actually millions of germs in the human body. But we're not aware of that. So I felt like he suddenly saw that world and wanted to talk about that world that we're not able to see, which sounds more like a Star Trek movie. So there are actually millions of germs around us that we live with, constantly on a daily life. And we live in harmony, in balance with them, until something happens and that balance is broken. So Soderbergh became aware that there's another world out there, and he wanted to talk about it. And then I was thinking about the movie. So the movie has big stars, award winners, and I thought, so who is really the star of this movie? And I realized, this is my opinion, that the star of the movie is actually the virus, because the virus is alive, and it wants to stay alive. It has an identity. And then I thought, well, this is really fascinating. The other interesting piece to this is that the director is really thinking out of the box, and he's looking into other worlds that are actually there, and we're part of other worlds. But he realized his limitations in what he does. He goes and pulled together a team of consultants to help him understand this world he realized he lives in, which is a world surrounded by germs. And he connects with CDC, the Center for Disease Control, WHO, World Health Organizations, which are actually the two most important organizations that deal with infectious diseases, which deal with germs. But these two organizations actually are monitoring, checking that those germs that we live with stay in balance. Because we live in a symbiosis with the germs. We live in a balance. When that balance is broken, then we have diseases like COVID-19 or M.P.H from the movie's Contagion. And then he goes to the experts, and the experts describe, how this world behaves. And you learned a lot in this movie. It's actually a lot of important facts. You learned about R0, that stands for R naught, which is the number of people that get infected when they're in contact with somebody who has the virus, which is an important number when we talk about epidemiology. They talk about mortality rates, which is, from all the people who get infected, what percentage of them are likely to die. You hear about formites, which is infectious that you get by touching surfaces, because the virus is able to live on surfaces, doorknobs, tables, anything you touch, and then you touch those surfaces and then touch your mouth, touch your nose, touch your eyes, and then there you get the infection. So the virus, the movie is able to convey this information, which is very helpful. And there's some things in the movie that are not quite that accurate, but that's part of the movies. But it's interesting to see, again, we're talking about balance, and we're talking about the relationship between virus and humans, and germs in general and humans, and how we live together and how we're able to move together. So I see this too with filmmakers and health professionals. There's actually a great balance, and there's actually an opportunity to work collaborative in what we do best. Filmmakers in making movies, filmmakers with the ability to see beyond most other people do, the ability to see out of the box, and the collaborative work with health professionals who understand worlds that filmmakers might not understand. In this case, the world of germs, a world we live in. Thank you.